like to call this meeting of the Hingham Select Board to order. It is August 13th, 2024. Time is actually 7 minutes after 7. This meeting is being held in person and remotely as an alternate means of public access pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023 and all other applicable laws, temporarily amending certain provisions of the open meeting law. You are hereby advised that this meeting and all communications during this meeting may be recorded by the town of Hingham in accordance with the open meeting law. If any participant wishes to record this meeting, please notify the chair at the start of the meeting in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 38, Section 20F, so that the chair may inform all other participants of said recording. Is there anyone recording? I will note for the record that participating in the meeting this evening is Liz Klein, Bill Ramsey, and myself, Joe Fisher. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you are willing and able, please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on our agenda, the approval of minutes, and after that, I'm going to move up the item, which is item number 8, which is the consideration of the collective bargaining agreement for the DPW supervisors. But I'm going to start with the approval of minutes. I am prepared to accept a motion. If Liz, Bill, you ready?
I make a motion to approve the minutes dated July 30th, 2024.
Second.
Roll call vote. Liz?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes dated August 2nd, 2024.
Second.
Roll call vote. Bill?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Minutes are approved. We will now move to agenda item number 8, which is to consider the collective bargaining agreement with Teamsters Local 25 DPW supervisors effective July 1, 2023 through June 30, 2026. And we are honored to have Jack Manning here with us. So if you can come up next to Michelle and just walk us through it, that would be appreciated.
Thank you. I think we've actually been through this once before, but, and I apologize for having to come back in and see all these friendly faces once again, but we sent this over to the Teamsters. They signed off on it, and we had already signed off on all the elements of the new contract, and then we realized when we had a supervisor going on a retirement that there was a glitch, that something got past us. It's a math error. It's literally a calculation error. It's on page 13 of the agreement. And it has to do with sick payments, sick leave payments upon retirement.
Yeah. Is it the chart that we're looking at?
That's right. And it's the last number in the box that says payment. It should read 2488. And when we first put it together, we did the math wrong.
Got it.
So I apologize for that. We put it through a number of different reviews. We should have picked it up, and we didn't. And interestingly enough, they didn't pick it up either. So when we have one of our guys, longtime employee, a great guy, decide to retire, when we were doing the math for the payment, we realized, wait a minute, this doesn't add up. So we just wanted to make that correction, and that's the reason why I'm here tonight.
And the agreement as corrected is the one that's been approved by
That's
the
correct.
Teamsters.
That's correct. And actually, their signatures are on the page back. Let's see what page it's on. It's on. I think it's on page 21, perhaps. So they've all signed off on it.
Yep. Yes, I see it. Tom, anything you want to add on this?
Just that everyone seems to want everyone else chairs except for you. And this one, Joe is the chair. I think this was signed when Liz was the chair by the original contract.
First time.
And that's why it was
Yes.
written that way. So
Okay.
you might want to change that language to Joe being chair. Sorry about that, Joe. It's the second time
It's the
today.
second time tonight being,
It'll never happen again in my watch.
okay. Liz, as the chair, do you have any comments or questions?
I don't. There are no other changes, correct?
No other
And we have
Okay.
reviewed this. Bill?
No comments on the CBA, just thank you, Jack. I think Karen worked with you on this one, correct? So our appreciation to you and Karen for the great work you did on this
Yeah, well,
one.
thank you. Tom was an amazing help, as always. A lot of people at Town Hall, Michelle, everybody that we had to interface with, Art, really helped us out. This was a lot shorter than the last one that we did with the DPW, which was, kind of pleasant to go through.
Yes.
They were eager to get something done, as were we, and I think they came to the table with a number of asks, but they were pretty reasonable, and we were able to get through it.
Great.
Great.
Thank you.
Yes. And am I correct that Kevin Feely has reviewed and is okay with
Yes,
this?
he has. Yeah.
Great. Any member of the public with comments or questions on this, which is item number 8 on our agenda? Then I'm prepared to take a motion as item number 9 on our motion.
I make a motion to sign the collective bargaining agreement with Teamsters Local 25, DPW supervisors effective July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Roll call vote. Liz?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. We're approved. Appreciate your time.
Joe, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Liz,
Thank you, Joe.
Bill, thank you.
Jack, everybody.
Art, Michelle. It's one of the few times that I've enjoyed getting to the front of the line. I never like to get called first. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is an item that I regret and don't really want to acknowledge, but we need to. We had the recent passing of Mark Cullings, who was here at our last meeting, and we actually just approved minutes talking about his activity on behalf of the farmers market. And it's difficult to, at least for me, and I know for others, to acknowledge that he's not here, that he's not with us. Speaking personally, he was a friend. He reached out on a number of occasions, whether it was farmers market, other town business, or just on personal matters. He was there, a real stalwart for the community. I actually did a search. And the Hingham Anchor did a feature on Mark in 2018. And I just want to read some of the things that were there in the Hingham Anchor article. It says, though he grew up in upstate New York, Mark Cullings has called Hingham home since moving here in 1979. His passion for the town has led him into many volunteer roles, including being one of the founders of our beloved Christmas in the Square and the Hingham Farmers Market. Mark met his wife and mother of their 2 girls on a whirlwind trip to Boston just before he went into the Air Force pilot training. After serving a stint in the Air Force, Mark flew for Delta Airlines for 30 years. Mark and his late wife Janice raised 2 children in town, Carolyn and Lauren, who are both proud Hingham High School graduates. In 1983, after living here for just 4 years, he was elected to the Hingham School Committee. It was one of the biggest honors of my life, and I'll never forget the experience, remarks Cullings. I guess I would have to say that one of my passions is Hingham. My parents were involved in the town I grew up in and were certainly models for my community involvement here. So some of the interesting things that I didn't know until I read this article is they asked Mark, if you could meet anyone in the world, alive or deceased, who would it be and why? And his answer, Ludwig van Beethoven, for the power, majesty, and inspiration of his music, much of it composed as he lost his hearing. If you could pass along one message to your 21-year-old self, what would it be? And Mark responded, if you say you're going to do something, do it. And Mark did it. When presented with 2 options, when did you make a choice that totally changed the course of your life? And to that question, Mark responded, "Shortly before I graduated from college, I had to confront whether or not to fulfill my military commitment to the Air Force. I chose to do so despite misgivings about the Vietnam War. I became an Air Force pilot and served for over 5 years." Asked, "What do you love most about Hingham?" Mark said, "The strong sense of community I felt since I've lived here, not to mention its natural beauty and history." If you had a different career, what would it be? Anyone guess? Mark said musician. Asked, "What is your beverage of choice, your go-to cocktail?" Mark said, "A good whiskey, either neat or on the rocks." And then finally, your favorite vacation spot? His answer, Nantucket, which unfortunately was the site of his demise, and we will truly miss Mark. Liz?
Thank you, Joe, and thank you for putting this on the agenda. I know all of us, many of us in the community are heartbroken, myself included. Mark was a friend and a mentor to me, and I'm so grateful for knowing him and being inspired by him. Certainly, he made our community a better place and built community wherever he went. I had the privilege of being at the farmer's market this weekend, and of course, it was sad, and he was sorely missed. But it is a true testament to what he has built, a community of shoppers, vendors, farmers, local merchants. He always had a passion for downtown and supporting the downtown, and that legacy continues. So we are grateful, and certainly our hearts go out to his family.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill?
Yeah, so Mark was, truly a part of the fabric of our community. His fingerprints are on so many positive initiatives. Obviously, the farmer's market, he was the heart and soul of the farmer's market, but he helped raise money and helped to build the Heritage Museum. Most recently, he was involved with improving cell phone service. He did so much and made such a positive impact. I would say he's probably one of the most well-respected residents that we've ever had in this town. I talked to him a lot about his military service. He was a pilot in the Air Force, as Joe pointed out. He went on to a very successful career with Delta Airlines before coming to Hingham, and obviously a long time on the school committee. He was a good friend to me as well, and I will miss him dearly.
Are there any other members of the public who would like to share thoughts or comments? So I think just one more moment of silence, and then we'll continue. Okay. Hard to move on, but we must. We will now turn to an election information update and to sign the Hingham warrant for the 2024 state primary election to be held September 3rd. And I see Carol Falvey. Please come on up.
Hello, Carol Falvey, Town Clerk. Nice to be with you all this evening. So I think before you, you have the warrant that the Secretary of State's office helps us to prepare. But in addition, I'm happy to talk a little bit about our September 3rd primary. First of all, let me backtrack. I think a lot of people have received this vote by mail application
Yes.
in the mail. The Secretary of State's office sent it out in January, and for people that did not respond, they sent it out again in July. And if you still haven't responded, one will also go out in October for the presidential primary. So there is 3 mailings. For the primary, the one thing I would say is if you are unenrolled, and nearly 2/3 of Hingham voters are unenrolled, you do need to check off for this September 3rd primary. There's a box here. you have to pick which ballot you would like. Unenrolled voters get to choose either a Democrat, Libertarian, or Republican ballot. It does not change how you're enrolled. You still remain unenrolled afterwards. But we can't process the application without somebody indicating which ballot they want. So these can come back to our office until August 26th. I recommend getting them in sooner than that because we do send the ballots by mail, and it's really unrealistic to think that it will get out and back in a week, especially since mail that we mail, even within Hingham, it goes now north of Boston and then gets sent out. So it's quite a process. So that is, and then, as I said, there'll be another opportunity in November for the general election. So we will be voting in person. We're starting on Saturday, August 24th, and we will continue Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of the following week. We will not be open on the Friday that we're typically closed for this particular primary because we really don't expect significant voters. We don't really have a lot of in-person voters that come in. We will, for November, we will be open the Friday before the November 5th election, but for this one where it's typically, like going back and looking at the statistics, we just don't get the same amount of people as we would for a presidential election.
And when you say in-person, you're referring to early in-person?
Early in person,
Right.
correct. And then, of course, on Election Day, which is Tuesday, September 3rd, schools will be closed, or I should say the high school and the middle school will be closed on that day. I think they're actually starting school on Wednesday this year. So then we will be open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. for the actual day of voting. Let's see. For any active military or U.S. citizens living abroad, there is a process where you can vote. The Secretary of State's office has a secure online voting system, so I have on the website getting in touch with our office, and we're happy to send instructions about how to accomplish that. Way better than sending a paper ballot someplace in Europe because it'll never get there and back in time, so. So that is pretty much, I do have samples of the ballots I put up earlier today. I think I'll leave them up here. Those are specimen ballots, Democratic, Republican, Libertarian. One thing I will say about people that are unenrolled in the Libertarian ballot, many people think that because they're unenrolled, they have to choose a Libertarian ballot. That is not true. You can pick any one of the three ballots. The Libertarian Party actually is a party. They have not one person on their ballot, not one candidate, but you have the opportunity, if you're a member of the Libertarian Party or an unenrolled party who chooses it, to write in somebody on the Libertarian ballot in any event. So those are there. So unenrolled people are not required to choose that. We get that question many times. It happened on the presidential primary as well. In March, people thought they needed to choose that particular ballot, and I don't know why, but I'm trying to get the word out.
What about registering to vote?
Registering to vote, you have also until Saturday, August 24th, 10 days before the election. And you can do it until 5 p.m. in person. We're going to be open for in-person early voting, as well as you can do it online until 11:59 p.m.
Great. Well, thank you. This is clear, comprehensive, and gets the job done. Liz, any questions?
Very helpful. Thank you, Carol. I don't have any questions.
Bill?
No, appreciate all you do, Carol.
Yes. Any member of the public, comments or questions? Hearing none, I will accept a motion.
I will make a motion to sign the Hingham warrant for the 2024 state primary election to be held on September 3rd, 2024.
Second.
Roll call vote. Liz?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. We are approved. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on our agenda, to consider the issuance of 4 special one-day wine and malt beverage licenses to WM Brewing Company, Inc., doing business as Widowmaker Brewing for Sunset Picnics at Ware River Farm, to be held on Thursday, August 29th, September 5th, September 12th, and September 19th, 2024, from 5 PM to 7:30 PM. Who's up here for that? Oh, Colin?
Yep. Hey, how are you?
So if you can just walk us through this, please.
Yeah, it's another series of the trustees putting on the sunset picnics at Ware River Farm, as we've been doing for, I think this is maybe our third year now. I mean, it's typically we send a couple of people there for to provide beer for the events. They usually last a couple hours. It's usually a pretty low key event for us. I don't really have much to go on here.
Yep. And these are on, looks like consecutive Thursdays?
Yeah, so it should be 3 Thursdays in a row.
Right.
Typically, the trustees get a different brewery from local South Shore towns to do 3 or 4 events for basically all their get-togethers at Ware River Farm or
Right.
World's End.
Yes, so this is on 4 Thursdays, is the application.
Yeah, so I might be.
What?
I don't have
Yeah.
the license application for 829, but it looks like you do, right?
Yeah, I have the 829.
Okay.
Do you have that, Phil?
I did, yeah,
Yes.
I have it in here. Doing-
It's substantially the same as the other one.
Yeah, that's fine. I
You
just
look
want to
at
make
it?
sure the dates were right.
Right. And how accurate is the 250 estimated attendance? Do you have a sense, is that in the ballpark?
I can help with that.
Okay.
This is Ann Smith-White
Oh,
from
hi.
the trustees. Hello, everybody. We have been running between 175 and 300 people, but I would say that 200 to 225 is probably the right range, depending on the
Yep.
weather.
Okay. And do we have a police detail for this?
We generally do not, because this is Turkey Hill, the end of a,
Right.
what, you know, a road, end of the road.
Tom, do we know have the police looked at this and they're,
Dave has signed off on it and did not request a detail on this one, because the numbers were low enough.
I'm sorry?
Oh, he's there, he's there.
He's on.
Yes. Chief Jones?
Good evening.
Hi.
I did review the packet. I have no issues with it at all. I would ask for a police detail, however, just because of the amount of people and the traffic concerns up there from the neighborhood. I don't know if that was communicated to Ann. I apologize if it wasn't.
Oh, that's fine, we can handle that.
Yeah, I mean, I think traffic control would be important.
We do always have staff helping people cross the street, but because it's a dead-end road, there's no traffic except the event traffic. But if you'd like us to hire a detail, we can certainly do that.
Chief, is that your request?
That would be my recommendation to the board, yes.
Got it. Bill, did you have any other?
No, I'm fine with it, with the stipulations, the detail be added, as chief, as per the chief's request.
Liz?
No other questions, thank you.
Any member of the public? Comments or questions? Seeing none, I will take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the issuance of 4 special one-day wine and malt beverages licenses to WM Brewing Company Incorporated, doing business as Widowmaker Brewing for Sunset Picnics at Ware River Farm, to be held on Thursday, August 29th, September 5th, September 12th, and September 19th, 2024, from 5 PM to 7:30 PM.
Second,
Roll call vote. Liz?
aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well, and we can then move to the second one with the same cast of characters here to consider the issuance of a special one-day wine and malt beverage license to WM Brewing Company, Inc., doing business as Widowmaker Brewing, for a fall festival at the Ware River Farm to be held on Saturday, September 28th, 2024, with a rain date of Sunday, September 29th, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So It looks substantially similar, except it's a larger attendance, a larger event, and it is only one day, and we have a rain date, whereas previously there are no rain dates. So if it rains, it will simply be pushed to the next Thursday for the one we just approved. So
That's right. Actually, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say there is no rain date for this event. That is a mistake on the application. Through no fault of Collins. That's that's our mistake. So there is no rain date. It's just the Saturday.
Got it. So we will make sure the motion is, there. Okay, so, Colin, do you want to walk us through this one? Although it's,
So it's just, it's a much larger event. The chief looks
Right.
like he requested 2 police officers.
right,
Davis, again.
right, this is the annual festival,
Yes.
and in this case, it looks like you're estimating attendance of upwards almost 1,000.
It depends on the weather. But
Many
somewhere
of these
between
things, do, yes.
750 and 1,000, yes.
And how is traffic regulated for this event?
We have not hired a detail in the past. The busiest time is between 11 and 2, I would say. So, yeah, but we have volunteers and staff helping people cross the road. That's just the way that we've handled it in the past.
Yep. And Chief, what's your recommendation for this?
I'd recommend on this one to be consistent with our other licenses that we've issued, to have a police detail this one also.
That's fine. We can do that.
Just to be clear, Dave, it looks like you're requesting a detail with 2 officers?
Correct, too.
Liz, any questions?
No other questions, thank you.
Bill?
No other questions.
Any member of the public, comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve issuance of a special one-day wine and malt beverages license to WM Brewing Company Incorporating, doing business as Widowmaker Brewing, for the Fall Festival at Weir River Farm to be held on Saturday, September 28, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Second.
Roll call vote. Bill?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Thank you. We move next to consider the issuance of a special one-day wine and malt beverages license to Stellwagen Beer Company LLC for Fall Festival at Ware River Farm to be held on Saturday, September 28th, 2024, and there is no rain date. Is Michael Snowdale on?
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can. So you now know there's no rain date.
I heard, yeah.
Okay. And your event is, well, that's not your event, it's the same event. Any additions to what you've already heard presented that you'd like to discuss with us?
No, as Ann and Colin mentioned, it's a great event. We've done it for, this might be our second or third. So yeah, it's just a similar setup for us. We bring our mobile beer trailer with 1 or 2 tip certified servers, and yeah, no, it's an awesome family friendly event.
Yes, I think this is the third, if I'm not mistaken. And we've already covered the issue of having a police detail. Liz, any questions?
No questions.
Bill?
I don't have any questions, but just in some input into the forum, Tom. We should, next to the police chief's signature block, we should have police detail required, yes or no, with a number.
Clarify there with the number of officers.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Dave sent in an individual email, but under a signature block, just put police detail, check yes or no, and then put number. I think that might
Good
be
idea.
helpful with this. Other than that, no other questions.
Any member of the public, comments or questions? Seeing none, I will take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the issuance of a special one-day wine and malt beverages license to Stellwagen Beer Company LLC for Fall Festival at Weir River Farm to be held on Saturday, September 28, 2024, with a rain date of Sunday, September 29, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Do we want to amend that to not not include a rain date.
Oh, I'm sorry, did you read the,
Yeah, sorry, I would strike the rain date of Sunday,
Sunday.
September 29, 2024.
Second.
roll call vote? Liz?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Thank you for picking up. Okay, we have already handled the collective bargaining agreement. We now move to consider the agreement with TL Edwards, Inc. for roadway management services. And do we have JR on?
Good
Or
evening.
should I say FR?
So, good evening. We are looking to, this is for an amendment to our existing agreement with TL Edwards.
Yep,
As we have some additional funds, we are looking to extend the contract to cover the additional work that we have available for them to do.
what do you mean you have some additional funds?
We had encumbered funds from fiscal '24 for road building, for
Right.
road construction. And we're dedicating a portion of those funds to this contract.
Okay. And the increase of $450,000, is that an increase in price associated with increased services, or is it the same services at a higher price?
No, it is an increase in the quantity of services. The contract itself is a unit bid contract.
Right,
So they have guaranteed to provide certain quantities of work, such as tonnage of asphalt, at a particular price. This allows us to increase that tonnage of asphalt that they will deliver and install for us.
right. So this is basically, we can get more. It's not as if we're getting the same, but we're paying more.
That is absolutely correct, Joe.
Okay, great. Liz, any questions?
No questions about the contract. I'm assuming we're following the road paving schedule that was already in place?
Yes, we are. As we continue to evaluate existing roads that are on our road building schedule, sometimes information comes to light that causes us to pause. So, for example, as we were preparing to mobilize to work on Scotland Street possibly as one option, going back through with Weir River Water System, they identified that there is a water main within that street that they would like to have an opportunity to replace before we repave it. And so right now, we've delayed Scotland Street, and this is just an example, but it's typical of the process we use. We anticipate having Weir River Water System replace their water main in the spring so that we can then work on the street in the late summer.
Right.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for that coordination. And I believe I saw recently a list of the roads that would be repaved in 2024, right? That was posted to the website?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
So that's regularly updated, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Bill?
I have no questions, thank you.
Tom, is there anything else you wanted to add on this?
Not on this thing.
Okay, great. Any member of the public? Comments or questions? Seeing none, I will take a motion.
I will make a motion to authorize the town administrator to sign amendment number 3 to the agreement with TL Edwards Incorporated to complete the 2024 roadway management services by increasing the contract value by $450,000 for a total value not to exceed $750,000.
Second.
Roll call vote. Bill?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. Approved. Thank you, JR.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks, Kathy.
Okay. Next item on our agenda is the downtown traffic calming update, specifically the crosswalk in front of the U.S. Post Office. And JR, you are still on with us.
Yes.
So please walk us through what this looks like.
So,
And you share this, and I'll note, this
There we
is
go.
not something that is up for a vote by this board. This is a presentation.
This is just a presentation.
Correct, okay,
Of what we put out to the public and
Right.
the feedback we're slowly collecting.
yes.
yes, so what you can see here is an image that I don't have Photoshop, but I have some tools that allow me to mimic what Photoshop does. And so I roughly Photoshopped in what we would anticipate a rectangular rapid flash beacon crossing looking like between Hennessy's and the post office. This is in downtown Hingham. So this has been the preferred solution by DPW and the Traffic Committee as a moderate cost option to significantly improve the awareness for drivers that pedestrians are looking to cross the street at this crosswalk. While I took this picture in the morning hours, as you can see, there's deliveries going on. There's not a lot of traffic in the street, and there's not a lot of parking happening at this time. However, later in the day, around noon or in the afternoon, this corridor is very heavily congested with shoppers, diners, people trying to get in and out of the post office, and to stop at the stores on their way home often. So this area being as congested as it is, and with such limited available parking, we did not want to significantly impact the parking. We also had concerns with the cost associated with elevating the crosswalk, both in the initial construction because of the possibility of having to install additional drainage, but also in the long term, as it's the type of activity that significantly changes our paving operations and can impact cost in the long run. It impacts our efficiency. So there are a significant number of different options that we've also evaluated, but this one is favored because it has the lowest impact to the existing condition and a modest cost with a significant improvement in making the driving public aware of pedestrians.
So just to summarize, the goal is traffic calming, traffic slowing in a high congested, in an area where pedestrians are going back and forth across the street. And what I'm hearing is what is being proposed are these, well, let me ask, what's the technical term for what's being proposed? Rapid flashing
Rectangular
beacons.
rapid flash beacon.
Okay. Any change to the crosswalk itself? In other words, striping it, making it red, white, and blue, and any proposed changes there?
Not at this time. We believe that there's a consistent painted crosswalk downtown that is, I think it has good visibility, and also drivers in these neighborhoods recognize it for what it is. So it isn't something that is confusing to drivers. So I don't see any need at this time to change the painting of the crosswalk.
Okay, and then with respect to consideration of putting in a hump, a bump, or something that would slow folks down, what I'm hearing is your view is that that would not be the preferred solution because it may affect parking and may affect drainage. Is that a correct
It
summary?
affects parking, it affects drainage. In the past, we've seen raised humps that were used in some locations, resulted in vehicles launching themselves. That isn't the case everywhere, and it isn't, I would say it's not typically the case, but that is something that has happened in Hingham. And it is not a condition that we would want to reintroduce.
Got it. And so, right now, you are soliciting comments from members of the public, is that correct?
That's correct. We sent out kind of a news blast and posted a news item on the website.
Yep.
We've gotten, I haven't counted them all, but we've gotten many comments about this. I would say the vast majority agree that there does need to be some type of change. And everyone, there are a lot of different opinions on what that change should be.
Got it.
But we're certainly open to listening to all of them and evaluating each of them.
And how long are you planning to keep the comment period open before we close this up and you propose a decision?
So,
I would like to be able to discuss this at the next select board meeting.
so that's what we told the public when we published the request, was that we would be talking about this on the 27th of August.
Right.
So my thought was to close this by the August 21st, that Wednesday, so that we would have time to compile all the results and send them to you, so you could review them in your packets prior to the meeting on Tuesday.
Yep. Great. Okay, Bill?
Sure. So, all right, so JR, just a couple of questions here.
Yep.
So the light, it lights up when someone hits a button, or does it detect the person traversing the street?
It does require, it's button activated. And the lights, you can see them in the picture. The lights are situated between the walking person sign and the arrow sign. So
Okay.
there's a small band there, and they flash alternately at a rapid pace so that to attract a driver's attention. It is not something that flashes all the time. So certainly in the middle of the night, it is not going to be flashing if there's nobody attempting to cross the street. Oftentimes, we've installed these at several locations along Main Street. We installed one crossing High Street. And what we usually see actually is that a lot of the pedestrians, if there aren't vehicles present, they won't even bother pressing it. They'll just walk across because it's a normal protected crosswalk. And as long as there's enough visibility, it's perfectly safe. However, it's when things get congested and you have a lot of vehicles parked here that are going to restrict the visibility of pedestrians. That's when it becomes really key. And hopefully pedestrians will utilize the button activation to alert drivers to their presence.
All right, and the view that we have is looking to the east. If we were to look to the west, would it be the same view of the signage and the flashers?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes,
it's on
it-
both sides of the pole.
Yep.
All right, is the flashing solar powered, or is it tied into an electrical source?
Because we have the street lights along North Street, I've elected to have our contractor tie it directly into the streetlight power. The reason for that is to reduce the additional requirement of having a solar panel hanging off the top of the pole as one more, unattractive element
Yeah.
within the streetscape.
Okay. Okay, all right, that's all I got for now, thank you.
Liz?
Thank you, JR, for putting this together. Obviously, this is a major concern of ours, and, we're talking about not just the calming in terms of traffic and speeds, but really pedestrian safety here. And it is, when there are cars parked along there, which is most of the day, it really is very hard to see. So I appreciate you putting this together. I would just say we received about 75 comments, so if people do want to participate and send us feedback, the best way to do it is through this feedback form on the website. And again, the deadline is August 21st. If you can't find the form, you can, of course, email us directly. But we do want to have as much feedback from the public as possible before the 21st. No other questions at this point.
Great. Any member of the public, comments or questions?
Terry.
Terry, please come on up to the podium. So, if you'd like, wherever you'd like. If you just give your name and address for the record, please.
Terry Granahan, 7 Cottage Street in Hingham. So I respectfully disagree with our town engineer, J.R. Fry. I think the town has an opportunity here to do something bold, different, and at a higher level than we've ever been before. My objective is to, as a property owner in North Street and not South Street, is to slow traffic. I mean, I go down there every day and walk the dog, and people fly down there. And I think cobblestone, I'm talking about jumbo cobblestone crossings, the wider they are, the better. It gives you also almost a visual aspect when you're driving up to it, but also a sensory when you drive over it with your car. This is the existing, almost every crosswalk with the red painted crosswalks downtown. I mean, there's easy trip. The cobblestones, if they're installed right with concrete, will prevent a smooth service. There's no issues with plows. Every other driveway in Hingham has cobblestones at the end of the driveway. It's an aesthetic, nice-looking thing, but also I have an abstract here that says it will slow traffic around 7 miles per hour, and it's from a study in Philadelphia. And also, it gives you better footing. When you paint these, the painted sidewalks all downtown they get slick during the winter. The cobblestones would provide much better footing for pedestrians year-round. And if you compare it to the existing, and also combined with flexible bollards. Bollards will prevent people, is a visual to it looks like the road's narrowing, and they make bollards you can drive right over. I think this is a much better alternative than flashing signs, which I've asked several police officers off the record, and they say that's just suggestive. It doesn't actually want you to slow down. And I think the wider the cobblestone crossings, the better. So the sewer department just did a big patch in front of 25 North Street. You can imagine if you did that whole thing cobblestone, and the cobblestones will last forever. And if you look at Nantucket, I was down there last weekend, and I just took a moment to watch cars. They're coming down pavement, all of a sudden hit the cobblestone, and boom, they slow down. They go 5 miles an hour. I mean, their cobblestone in Nantucket's pretty rough. And I'm not suggesting that, but a nice smooth cobblestone I think would make a big difference in downtown Hingham. And I have some of these abstracts here that kind of show that studies that have been done to show that bollards and cobblestones. And here's a picture of the jumbo cobblestones. I'm not talking about these small cobblestones, but large cobblestones. These are in Cohasset, looking for a home in Hingham on the streets. So my goal is to have entire downtown Hingham cobblestone. We'd never have to pay for paving again. And there's no issues with plows. I've talked to several plow drivers in Hingham that commercial plow drivers, they do every driveway in Hingham. I have a brick driveway in cobblestone. I have a plow. There's no issues with plowing, whatever. There's no issue with, I mean, a raised thing, I've heard the argument that fire trucks go over and it's gonna lift the rear end and break the fire truck, but cobblestones are relatively flat. But they are rough enough to give that sensation and the visual, and I think it's a much better alternative than flashing signs that, particularly in historic downtown, we have enough noise down there, it's visual noise to eliminate that would be, or not to add it would be a great thing with historic buildings. I think we have an opportunity. Let's try it. Let's try it and see how it works. I think it's going to be, and I want to emphasize the wider the crosswalk, the better it's gonna slow people down. And we could do wider and wider as we go along. You can add to the cobblestone. And if there's a water main break, you know, you have to dig up the cobblestone, you put it back down. And I've talked to a mason in Hingham who gave me a price, I'm not gonna give it now, to do the crosswalk at the Hingham Post Office. I'd be happy to pass that on to the town engineer. But I thought it was a great price, and he said he can get the jumbo cobblestones at a discount. So, and I know we have Union, we have to probably use our contract with Gallant, whoever it is. But anyways, just wanted to mention that a local mason in Hingham would be happy to do the project or projects downtown. So I just think it's a great opportunity for Hingham to, we could be the Nantucket of the north. And I mean, it's just an aesthetically, you know, beautiful sight when you see these cobblestone streets. And I think it'd be a great thing for downtown Hingham.
So Jerry, other than Nantucket, is there a place we can go see this, you know, crosswalks that other communities have?
I've seen them in Newburyport or Burlington, Vermont. I'll have to look it up. Some towns take big granite curbing, then turn it flat. Ben Wilcox said he's seen that in many places, so you don't have all the individual cobblestones, but you take granite curbing and you put it flat. So you know, and it would be a much faster job to installing as well too. So that's another alternative to flat, granite curbing.
Any issues in terms of wheelchairs going across, or?
I don't believe
You
so.
know,
I actually talked to a contractor who does a lot of, he's a Hingham born contractor, one of the largest union contractors in the state. They've done a lot in Cambridge, and they think it's a great thing. So Cambridge is another place that probably, I don't know the exact location,
Sure.
but he's done a lot in the city of Boston. He's like a Boston contractor, so. I just think we have a great opportunity to just do something that's gonna be classy for downtown. Hingham's a classy town, you know, great people, and I think it's just, it'll be a nice aesthetically pleasing thing for, and the benefits would be enormous. And we would use less asphalt, you know, the more we did. So I just think it's an opportunity to do something bold and new and pleasing.
Sure. JR, is this something that you've looked at?
It's something that I have some experience with, as well as that we've looked at. When it comes to cobbles, when you're looking at the change in speed that Mr. Granhan was referencing, that is usually a condition more typical with raised uneven cobbles. The smoother they are, you're not going to see the change in speed that he's talking about. So there is a correlation between cobbles and speed, but it usually has to do with having an uneven surface that increases the discomfort for drivers.
So if I can just, Terry, so following up on your point, thank you, Chair. So obviously being familiar with the Nantucket community, that entire street is all cobble, right? So as soon as your vehicle gets on that street, you got to slow down.
You're right, yes.
Their crosswalks are also cobble, and they're beautiful, I agree with you. But they're obviously, they're very flat, right? Because as Joe mentioned, an individual with disability or wheelchair needs to get across that crosswalk. The crosswalk by itself, without the cobbles on the other end, would that slow traffic? Because if the crosswalk's gotta be a flat surface, and the cobblestone would look beautiful, I agree with you, 100%. But it's flat, right? Because people gotta get across it. If it's flat, but it's cobbled, with the cobbles in the middle of it, how would traffic slow? Because JR's point is, you get on that street and you start bouncing and the traffic goes from,
Right.
goes immediately to like 2 or 3 miles an hour,
I
right?
mean, no, the cobbles are flat, but they're rough though. They're rough. I mean, so you have to satisfy the plow thing. So like if you go
Yep.
look at driveways in Hingham, I mean, if they're done right and they're rough, and they will definitely slow traffic. It's just common sense tells you that. But you don't want them too rough. JR's right about that, and I think they're rough enough they will work. Even a brick they say brick will slow down traffic. I mean, the sidewalks, when we did all the sidewalks on, you know, that when you shovel the snow there, that's easy. And, I mean, what a beautiful addition to the town of Hingham is the brick sidewalks.
Agreed.
But I just think, I think the cobblestone, they are rough enough to, I was gonna bring one tonight, so they're so heavy that.
Come on, you can carry it.
Yeah, I think I stopped and showed him.
You did, you showed it to
Bill
me.
one
He pulled
day,
over in
so
his truck.
I'm talking about the heavy, big cobblestones. I think, it's not gonna cost a lot of money. Let's try it. And I think it'll help and help slow traffic. And they're rough enough to slow traffic.
Are they raised so that it creates a bump, if you will, that,
I mean, you can raise them what you want, but you want it even with the, maybe we should just do a sample down there, you know, and,
The Nantucket one, I think, is slightly raised.
Yeah,
Slightly
yeah.
raised, but it's even, like you can get across, someone with a disability could get across the fine.
right.
It is slightly raised,
Right. Right. yeah.
so a little bit, but it's very smooth going across top. 'Cause knowing this conversation was coming, I was thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the
It
cobble.
does look, I mean, it looks beautiful, Terry's right.
Right, yeah. I mean, I think it is, and the wider you go, the more, because the tires are gonna hit the cobbles, they're gonna feel that sensation and slow down. I mean, I can imagine wide swaths on North Street would really slow traffic. You know, I know, obviously that's gonna cost a lot, but, I think try an area down there. I mean, I'll come to the next meeting and bring a couple cobblestones but I mean, or we can try, I'll use my driveway as an example to, you know, put the cobbles in. But there's other, I just noticed one on Cottage Street, someone did a beautiful job in the beginning of the driveway with cobblestones. It looks perfect. And it's not smooth enough and flat enough that it's not gonna slow down traffic, so. I mean, a lot of people put them at the driveways. I asked one guy, well, because it helps kind of slow, people turning in and slowing down a little bit, so. You don't need it, if you go 6 feet, well, I don't know how wide these are on North Street, but if you went a little bit wider there, it's gonna definitely help.
Yeah, to that point, we did talk about cutting into the parking on North Street in that area and to try to give more visibility. Are you still considering that, JR?
I'm not necessarily opposed to for restriping portions of that parallel parking area, but it would impact people's comfort level with the current parking arrangement. If we were to restrict to a certain distance parking on the approach sides, then you probably end up losing at least a space on each side of the street, and the spaces that you'd be left with would not be quite as convenient to the crosswalk. But that's not to say it can't be done. As we're talking, as Terry's talking about this being an entirely changed streetscape, it's important to understand what the full implications of that are. It not only changes the way that we typically pave, it also changes the way that we manage all of our utility work, because the amount of time that it's going to take every single time that we have to make a repair into sewer, water, or natural gas, if there's anybody that needs to get connected to natural gas, or if somebody discontinues their gas service and the gas company has to go into the street to disconnect that service, every single time there's going to be a substantial increase in the amount of time that it takes to restore the street to passable condition. So that's both an expense on the cost side for the people that have to do that work, whether it's one of our utility departments or whether it is the cost of service for somebody that's connecting a new service. But it also results in delays in people's ability to use the street. So working with asphalt is a standard practice. It is efficient both from a material sense and from the sense of people's time and being able to utilize the street and provide that access for people to for travel and for the businesses.
And JR, you weren't a big fan, obviously, of the elevated crosswalk, and one of your concerns was impact on parking. But
Yeah, you'd have
but
to.
somebody,
you'd have
I mean,
to
but
ramp
somebody
that.
can't, somebody shouldn't be parking on the crosswalk anyway, in any location. I think it's a violation if you do that. And what comes to mind is I was traveling through Quincy Center recently. Obviously, they have a lot of history. It's a different feel to the center of their town than our town, but they're concerned about their history as well, and certainly aesthetics. And those crosswalks are slightly elevated
Yep.
to the point where drivers slow, but they're not, like you mentioned, you're concerned about a car launching. A driver would have to be driving truly recklessly to launch off one of those crosswalks in Quincy Center. Why would something like that not work?
Well, I think it's worth recognizing the entirety of the traffic condition that those crosswalks are within. So all of those crosswalks are bracketed by full signals on both sides. And
True.
then at the crosswalk itself, those have a hawk signal, which is a dedicated red stoplight, which is enforceable by the police to indicate to vehicles that they must stop for pedestrians to cross. And so the entirety of that traffic condition is really what controls how all vehicles approach those raised crosswalks. It works really well. It does a great job. They have maybe, I don't know, they probably have a slightly higher pedestrian population right in that downtown. I know there's Quincy College has had a campus there. I think they still do, as
Yeah,
well
it's
as
a lot
the
larger
National Park.
than downtown.
Yeah.
Than our downtown.
Streets are wider,
there-
too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of access with respect to that I think the improvements that they've made are great, but I'm not sure that they fit into the context that we have in downtown Hingham. Both from a traffic safety perspective in terms of how traffic is managed within all of those spaces, as well as, I would not feel comfortable proposing a hawk system.
Terry, anything else?
I was just going to mention, JR touched on it, that, when they press the button in the flashing sign, they're going to slow traffic, but a cobblestone crossings is going to slow traffic all the time. Like if you're at Ben Wilcox's, people come in and, fly around that corner. So we're talking about pedestrian safety down there and people walking down the sidewalk, and I think that the cobblestone crossings are going to slow traffic 24/7 without the flashing lines and everything else. I think it's going to be a great alternative to slow traffic on North Street. I mean, my only goal is to slow traffic down there. When you're walking down North Street, even those sidewalks are wide. And when we did the brick sidewalks, I paid the contractor to do the ends of my driveway at 25 North Street and 31 North Street. And I know I had to bring a new water service in recently. I had to dig up the brick, but I put it back down. And I just fixed the brick in the whole front of the sidewalk in front of 25 North Street because it had settled down. I did it out of my own cost. So, I mean, it's just like if someone has to bring in gas service, so, instead of repaving, they're going to just have to, If you want a nice haircut, you go to a good hairdresser, you know what I mean? It costs you more. So anyways, I just think I think the arguments against the cobblestone are not valid, and I think that's the way to go, and we should at least let's try a sample and see how it goes. I'd be happy to, we can go down and do a sample down there somewhere on Station Street and see how it looks and go from there, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it could be a great thing. So I'm all for it, but I'm only one person, and I just trying to help the town, and I think aesthetically it would look a lot better than flashing signs and big orange signs downtown there. You know, with all the historic houses down there, and people have put a lot of money into maintaining the historic houses along North Street and South Street and everything else, and I think that it's a unique downtown. It's like Nantucket. And Nantucket, they're tough on zoning down there, just like Hingham. And we're historic, you gotta keep your house up nice, and I think, let's keep the roads up nice too, and keep cobblestones. And I think, if we have to have a water main break, then I think that, that's rare and, far in between. I think that we're gonna have water main breaks down there. But anyways.
Well, Terry, I mean, the fact that you're coming here, expressing your views, and sometimes it's inconvenient to come to our meetings, and I appreciate that you're here. So
My pleasure.
Appreciate your passion.
it's really important that you have not only the opportunity to present, but that we have the opportunity to learn.
Sure,
So
absolutely.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Before Terry leaves, I just had a question for him.
Yeah.
Terry, please tell me you didn't dig up a crosswalk in Cohasset of cobblestones.
I did, I'm gonna do that. If I
Thanks,
could
Terry.
put my eyes and just cobblestone all downtown and say, it's done. But I can't do
Right.
that. Thanks.
Okay. JR, anything else you want to add?
No, I look forward to getting additional responses from the public. Thank you.
Yep. I mean, you will note in the comments that we've received so far, a number of folks are asking for a raised crosswalk. And so that is something that
Yes.
we should,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
I understand, and I look forward to your direction on that.
Okay, great. Liz, Bill, anything else?
No.
Any other member of the public? Then we are going to move on.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mark, yeah.
Yes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you for raising your hand. I didn't see it.
Great, thank you. I don't know why my video isn't working, but Mark Bonagurio, 10 Cliff Road. I'm in favor of adding the signs, and they're only going to light up when people actually are pressing the button. From what I've seen from throughout the town, one of the other ones that have installed, when people actually use them, cars notice them and slow down. I think obviously we all know the start of this one with these lights based in school, and in the same situation here where somebody actually got hit. I'm also in favor too of taking a look at expanding that space, expanding the width of the sidewalk, giving a little bit more room from the cars. And based on the fact that we really don't have individual striping for the spots down there, and seeing how many people actually manage to take up sort of two spots because people don't park within a few feet of each other, I think you'd be able to save the amount of parking you have downtown, or perhaps even add a few spots if you were to carefully manage it. Just my thoughts on that, but I'm overall in favor of the project.
Great, thank you. Very helpful. Anyone else? Yes, Deirdre.
Hi, Deirdre Anderson. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Sorry, I don't know how to. Deirdre Anderson here on behalf of the Hingham Historical Society. I also sent in a letter. We, as you know, offer weekly walking tours in historic Hingham, and given what we have witnessed over our tenure of offering those tours, including special events like Haunted Hingham, we are very much in support of the ongoing traffic calming measures put forth by the town's traffic committee, including the rapid flashing beacons here at the crosswalk in front of the post office. I gave details in our letter, but I really think we have to prioritize public safety of our neighbors over aesthetics. And you know what's a difficult aesthetic in historic towns are cars. So I think we have to, we've taken, you know, each of these steps to mitigate a known problem in downtown Hingham with the speed of cars not adhering to pedestrian safe crosswalks, the accidents we've seen, cars hitting buildings. Each of these proactive measures by the traffic committee have really been, the schedule of their implementation has been, I think, dragged out by, and I'm worried about that because I think we indulge a lot of non-traffic engineer ideas and thoughts, and at the cost of more efficient implementation and, again, prioritizing public safety. So, again, I speak on behalf of the society. We're in support of these measures because the notion that we can change human behavior, I think, is unfortunately is very difficult. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? You see anyone else? I do not see anyone else either. Okay. So again, I appreciate everyone's comments, and we will take this up again at our next meeting. And again, we encourage you to, members of the public who have not yet submitted comments, please submit them on the website.
By August 21st.
By August 21st.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next item on our agenda is to consider the agreement with Comstar LLC for ambulance billing services, and I believe we have Deputy Chief Lou LaChance. How are you?
Yes. How are you? Good evening. Yep, thanks for having me. I know Kathy Riley's on. Comstar has been our ambulance billing company for as long as the chief and I can remember. Our 8 years on the side of admin, they've been our billing company, and years before that. We're not even sure how long they've been around with us. We're happy with them, no issues. I know Kathy can talk about the contract. I believe they were the only ones that put in for the RFP.
They were the only ones who put in for the RFP, and they've maintained the same percentage.
Which is the 3%?
3%, right, off the billing.
And that is not on billings, but on receipt.
Correct.
Right.
Funds received.
Actual receipts.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, one bidder made it easy.
Yeah, and we're happy with them. We've had no issues, and you know.
Are they responsible for setting the rates, or is that something separate?
That would be separate. That is something that the town sets the rates.
Got it. Okay.
They just handle, so a couple times a week, our admin will send in all the ambulance transports, patients that we actually transported, and then Comstar takes care of everything.
Right, okay. Liz, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Bill?
No questions.
Any member of the public, comments or questions? Seeing none, I will take a motion.
I'll make a motion to authorize the town administrator to sign the agreement with Comstar LLC for ambulance billing services.
Second.
Roll call vote. Liz?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Next item is the fiscal year 25 Select Board goals. Our goal is to get through this.
You want me to walk us through it?
We have put this off several times, and we can't put it off or the fiscal year will be over. So, yeah, please, Tom.
Sure. So back in, I believe it was the end of June, maybe, we had a select board goal-setting exercise, and we walked through a whole bunch of ideas. I think we had a very healthy conversation, the three of you and my administration team and I. And we came up with collectively, I believe, the select board set a total of 8 goals. And I'll just walk through them pretty quickly here, and we can, and I'll add a little color as necessary along the way, but we can answer questions.
Please.
So the first was a set of vision. I believe there's a vision from the master plan that I believe the board wanted to use as a draft. Liz has taken a stab at that and then sent it around, so that's in process. We want to continue our commitment to the financial management plan. That's our 3.5% goal promise, or not goal, the 3.5% promise to the town to try to keep spending within that 3.5% with certain carve-outs, but within the 3.5% annually. So the board did that very well last year, and will, I assume, continue that with this goal now for this coming fiscal year.
Yeah, I would just add that that's a joint commitment that we've made, not just with this board,
right.
but with the school committee, and AdCom, the zone board, and town administrator, as well as the superintendent are also committed, yes.
Exactly. And then we wanted to improve the communication with the public, including a two-way communication with community groups. We heard some of that with the Weir River water system tonight, trying to improve our social media outreach, but I think importantly, we've been making gains in this world with our My Hingham app, and we're now talking about expanding it beyond the DPW function, and I think very importantly, we're going to use that tool as a notification tool, not just a receiving concerns tool. So today, it's only been available for the public to tell us about potholes or dead animals in the street or whatever they come across. But now we're going to be able to send them, anybody who has downloaded the app will get a notification from us directly when we have information to pass along. So that will be in addition to our social media, our notification tools that through the website itself. So it's just another place where we can do that. I do think that My Hingham is very effective when people use it. So can't stress that enough. Please download the app and participate in that program. It's absolutely worth doing.
Great.
So, and then promoting economic development. This has been the main focus for Mr. Robert, sitting to my left, who's been doing great work. We're expanding our work with the MWRA. He's been working with several community groups along the way. We have expanded outreach with the Downtown Association and some large developers in South Hingham, as well as the shipyard folks. So Art's really been doing a great job there, and available for any questions as we get into as I finish up here. You guys all wanted to improve the meeting efficiency. I think one of the goals was to try to hold meetings once every 2 weeks instead of every week, and then improving the efficiency and effectiveness of that. One of the ways to do that was to have me sign the one-day liquor licenses and/or the town warrants. I can do all that now. We start building these efficiencies. So when you're here to do the business of the board. That really ought not be done somewhere else, and then your meetings are more efficient. And I think we've made a few inroads along those
Yeah,
lines.
and my goal has been to have my meetings as efficient as Liz had them, so that's certainly my goal.
That is a high goal.
It's a high
I'm just going to say it. Creating safe bike routes was one. I know, Joe, this was one especially dear to you. I'll note to the public and to you guys that I had mentioned to Joe that, Joe, I don't know how we're going to be able to do this. And he said, Tom, what are you talking about? We've already done it. He said, look at the shared use path at the harbor that we're planning. And I was like, oh yeah, we are already doing it. That's great. I didn't think of it. But then Joe and I were even talking today. We were coming back from a meeting in Marshfield, and we were driving down the street, and he was noting that there's an opportunity here perhaps for some striping that might allow for safer biking along some of our less busy roads. So I will be speaking with J.R. Fry about that idea and seeing if there's ways to improve our bike routes in town. So we certainly can do that. The Resiliency Committee, we have a charge. Bill, I believe, has drafted a charge for that committee for us all to consider, and then try to come up with the staffing and how we're going to, the number of seats and where we'll draw people from and get that appointed here in the near future. And then the last was the review process for myself. I think you all wanted to make sure that there was a look back halfway through the process, and then an annual review process, and trying to make that as efficient as possible, that process. So those were the 8 goals that we documented from that exercise.
Yes.
Discuss.
So I think you accurately reported what we discussed. I would like to add another goal. And Tom, I'm not sure, I think I've spoken with you before, is that we need to look beyond our specific jurisdiction. So we've got the municipal side, you've got the school side, you've got a library, and to look for efficiencies where we can all work together. So just as an example, I'm not saying this is a good example or bad example, as an example, whether or not we have a public relations, a PR function for the town. Right now, we've got one for the schools, we've got one for the town, I'm not sure who else has it, and we should look at ways that the town can operate more efficiently by sharing resources across what I'll call barriers, so that we're all, we recognize that as the town we're benefiting, not the municipal side or the school side. And I think that's a vision that I would like to promote for this year. Liz?
Great. I agree.
Was that a skeptical look or an
No,
approving look?
No, that
Okay.
was very much approving. And I know we've talked about improving communication with the public and community groups, but to your point, I think we also talked about within our boards and committees. So that's an important piece of this, improving communication, whether it's PR or social media. The Hingham Public Schools just announced a new app, so I do want to make sure those efforts are coordinated. And if we are going to add Ware River Water System to My Hingham and be able to do push notifications for them, that all needs to be part of that overall communication plan. I think this looks good. It reflects what I remember from the meeting. I know some of this is in process. We had talked about inviting the Master Plan Implementation Committee to a meeting in August to provide an update. I did mention that to Gordon. I don't know if they're quite ready to do that, but I don't want to lose sight of that. So to happen in August or September. But this looks good. And then the plan is to review it monthly? Is that what we said? Instead of meeting a
I
month?
believe we said
focusing
regularly,
on
it can be
goals?
monthly, it can be quarterly, it can be weekly, whatever you.
This has said one meeting a month focusing on goals. Was that that was a select board meeting, right?
That was at the select board meeting to review the goal, progress on the goals at a select board meeting once a month.
Okay, great.
Bill?
Yes, I think the goals are great. My only concern would be, as part of the goals, we're setting a vision for the town. The vision probably should be first, right? So you set the vision, and the goals support the vision, and then tasks support the goals, right? So, if we're adopting the vision that was articulated in the master plan, I think these are all go to support that, and I like that vision statement there. But I just say that I think the vision comes first. The goals support the vision, the tasks support the goal. But I think everything here looks good to me.
Yes. Tom, anything else you want to add?
Nope, I think it's great.
Michelle?
Thank you all.
I think that one meeting a month focusing on the goals was when Jeff, the facilitator, was talking about, instead of doing some of the more administrative items,
Yeah.
taking one meeting to focus on like a big picture,
Yes.
one of these things and do a deeper dive, whether it's the visiting session of the safe bike routes or something, to kind of carve out that time separately.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes.
I think you're right, and if we're only meeting every other week, I don't know how realistic that is, so that may be something we just need to figure out logistically.
Yeah, and when budget time hits,
Yeah, we're
it'll
back
be,
to
that'll be
easier.
different. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think last year we did quarterly, right?
yes.
Yes.
Which worked pretty well.
All right.
Nothing to add.
Right.
Makes sense.
Okay. Any member of the public? I'm seeing none. Okay, so we will pick this up next month.
Do you want to vote to adopt them?
Oh, is that a,
I don't know
Yeah.
if that's necessary, but we can.
You can, it certainly doesn't hurt.
it's
not
sort-
done every year.
it's sort of a non-binding vote.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on whether you want to?
I'll make a motion to adopt the FY '25 select board goals as
Is
presented.
there a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, Liz.
Aye.
Bill.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Okay, we've now voted to adopt the goals.
Okay.
We are now going,
Better get that vision statement done.
I know, I guess,
or you're going to be contempt.
I know, right?
Okay. We're going to move on to appointments. I'm going to make a motion to appoint Stephen B. Stein to the Country Club Management Committee for a 3-year term ending June 30, 2027.
Second.
Roll call vote. Liz?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. We're going to put off any further,
I don't have any other this evening.
Bill?
I don't have any this evening.
Okay.
We should have a couple next meeting, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
And with that, though it's not on the agenda, are there any members of the public with comments on items not on the agenda? Seeing none, I'm prepared to take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, Liz.
Aye.
Bill.
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. We are adjourned.
Thank
8:30.
you.
Thank you.